Hello guys, today we are making some heavy jig weights in 30, 40 and 50 grams. Let me show you how to do it. Jig pouring mold is easier to find than lead. The three main sources I know for lead is, if you want to get it, you need to talk to a plumber, to a roofer or to an electrician. When you talk to a plumber, you can ask for some lead pipes. Sometime in their job they use it for their needs. An electrician would have a wire core would be wrapped in a lead coating sometimes. That's how you can find lead through an electrician. And then a roofer, they would use lead to cover joints on the roof. This particular piece of lead I got on a building site off a roof. So let's use it. First we are going to cut it to size. I have already made some scratches, and with my garden shears we are going to cut it. I have cut the lead into small pieces. Now we can put them into our lead melting pot. Before we go any further, we need goggles, mask and gloves, because lead melting temperature is around 320 degrees Celsius. It is very hot. Even if it doesn't touch your skin but pass beside it and you don't have a glove, it's gonna burn you. And also, lead is quite toxic when it gives out fumes while it's melting. So you need to do it in a shed like me, or in a well ventilated place, and definitely with a mask. This is my lead melting pot. I bought it online, got it quite cheap. It took a while to come in from China, but when it did, there's nothing wrong with it. It's quite a good pot to start off with. This is my main pot where I clean and flux all my lead, and then we are going to pour it from this pot as well. It has melting chamber. It has a switch on and off, and it has a control dial. It goes up all the way to 450 degrees Celsius. I'm going to use this tin box. While the lead is melting, I'm going to put the pot on the top like this. That way it won't burn the wood. The lead pot is on. You can see the little light flashing. I have it turned on to the high setting. Let's wait for the lead to melt. While the lead is melting, let me tell you about my mold. I also got it online. This one is quite a heavy mold. 50, 40 and 30 grams. I'm going to use it for big jig lures that are floating. The way that works, I have a piece of wire in here. Cover it. And that way when you pour the lead and take the wire out, you're gonna be left with the weight that have a hole in the middle. So then you can insert your wire loop in there. So I'm just going to leave this on the top here. So while the pot is getting hot, the mold will get hot as well. That way the lead pour going to be smoother inside the mold. I think it's kind of getting liquidy, the lead. You can see it there. You see? Okay, so it's fully liquid. And now we can put our little pieces of lead inside. Okay guys, last piece is going into the pot. While it's melting, guys, I can see quite a debris on the top. Because what happens is lead is the heaviest in this pot, so any impurities, they will float to the top, and that is quite good for us, because after the lead have melted, what we can do, we can give it a stir And then you see all this on the top, you can just scoop it off. And you see, as I scoop the debris, it becomes shinier, the lead. Let's give it another stir. So now we got the debris off the top. It's kind of shiny and liquidy, but it's not ready yet. So what we have to do is flux it. I'm just going to flux it with a bit of candle wax. And what that's going to do is going to take away the film off the top of the lead and also purify it. You see how it becomes shiny? So now we'll just wait for the wax to evaporate, and then we'll be ready to pour it into ingots. I will take the final debris off the top after fluxing, and then you'll see how shiny the lead will be. Look at that, guys, really nice and shiny and clean and fluxed. I'm going to use this big tablespoon. So now I'm just waiting for the lead to cool down. Here we go, guys. And that's our first ingot. I have made few ingots, guys. They're clean, fluxed, ready to go. And the reason why I made the ingots, because it's good practice. Let's say we're pouring our jigs and then we run out from the lead inside our pot. So then instead of getting a dirty piece of lead, putting it in there, melting it, cleaning it, fluxing it, what we can do, just get an ingot that's already being cleaned and fluxed, and then we'll just put it inside our pot, and that way it's going to melt and then it will be ready to pour. So guys, basically making ingots is good practice. Let me put all of them back into the pot, so our pot will be full again, and then we can start pouring our jig weights. I'm just going to pour it a few times just to get it hot. That was a bad pour, guys. You see? That's why I have to pour it as well, so you get some practice. Okay guys, I got it open. Here we go, there's jig weights inside. Let's put them back and then pour again. Before we start pouring, This metal is going to go inside the mold, and that's what's going to create the hole in the jig weight. But it is quite sticky, so if we're going to pour it like this, then the lead going to stick to it, and it'll be hard for us to pull it off. So what we're going to do, we are going to get some soot on it from a candle flame, and that's what's going to create a little barrier for the lead, preventing it sticking too hard to this little metal piece. That's one side, pretty black, and let's do the other side. Let's insert, guys, our piece of wire into the form. Great. Here we are. Good. There's the first weight, there's the second weight, and there's the third weight, the most powerful, 50 grams. We can catch a big fish with that weight, guys. So now, guys, we'll just repeat the process of blackening the wire, pouring the jigs until we have poured enough. Okay, guys, I have made some weights, but they're not finished yet. Now we have to take away these parts on them. Also, guys, another thing that I do on these weights is I get that same wire that was going into the mold, and what I do is I put it back into our little slot, and then I wiggle it in there and push it through, because I don't know if you can see it, there's still a little bit of lead left inside there, and what that does, it kind of smooths the groove out. So then when we install a new wire loop in there, the wire is gonna go in without resistance. It's quite smooth with no lumps and bumps. I like to snip this part, but I'm not going to snip it flush. I'm going to snip it a few mil away, because then we're going to come in with the finer wire cutters and take away the extra bits. Here we go. So now there's still a bit left on the top. That's great. And this one we can put back into the lead melting pot. With my fine file, I'm just gonna go around it. Here we go. Finish filing on the top. Pretty smooth. It's time to bend the wire loops for our jig weight. What I've done was I found the thickest wire that I could find that would go inside of our jig weight. I want a 9mm tag end sticking out. Here we go. So now I'm going to take the weight off, and then I will bend it. to form a loop. Here we go. Now guys, I will get a glove so the wire doesn't hurt my finger. Here we go. There's a bend. It's not quite straight this way. Yeah, that's pretty straight now. Let's insert it into the weight and see that there's nothing sticking out on the other end. Nice little loop. Nothing is sticking out there. Now we need to file this end down because the edge is sharp, so it's not getting caught in the lead while we're trying to insert it and change lures. And then with the round nose pliers, we are going to grab it. We are going to leave about a 3 mil, and then we're going to make just a slight bend. You see it there, guys? So now when we take it out, we know exactly where to bend the front part of the loop. Now guys, I have it in the pliers. I'm going to squeeze it a bit, and then with the wire cutters I'm going to come in and see where I want to cut it, about there. So now I'm going to wiggle it. It gave us a little mark. Now I know where to snip it. And that's our loop, guys, almost ready. Here we go. And then we'll just bend this part just a little bit. Here we go. Let's try to insert it. Perfect fit, guys. There's a loop at the back for our hook and our lure, and then there's a loop at the front for us to attach it to our leader. And then the beauty of it is you can take it out, change your lure, put a new one on, and then insert it like so. And guys, on this kind of weights, because of where the slot is for the loop, it's not on the center line, it is slightly above. So this weight, it will always ride in the water this way. It's not going to ride upside down, it's not going to ride sideways. This heavier part of it, it will always be pulling down. So then when it's jigging, it's always going to jig the same way. And then if you point your hook up, your hook is going to stay weedless off the bottom. So guys, let's check if our jig weight actually weighs 50 grams. 51.2. That's not bad. Because with a weight like this, 1 gram up or down, it doesn't really make a difference. It works the same way, guys, with the smallest weight that we have poured. Get your wire, insert it. If you don't want to measure it here, insert a little bit extra. You see now there it's sticking out a bit. That's fine. Make a mark. Take it out. And then cut it slightly above the mark. About there. Yes, I made a new mark. end is just flush with the edge of the ball. This end right there. Okay guys, here it's bent. Let's try to insert it. The way I do it, I put it in a little bit, and then I get this part, and then I put it on top, like so. And then we can just push it in. Here we go. So nice loop at the back for the lure, and then a nice loop at the front for your leader or your line. Okay guys, here we have our finished jig weights, 50, 40 and 30 grams. Pretty happy with them. The one thing I don't like is at the moment they're too shiny, so I'm going to leave them sitting on the windowsill outside, let the rain and wind beat them up a bit so they'll become darker, and then I'd be able to make a lure for them and take them out fishing. This is makeshift lures, and I approve this weight.